Good morning, everybody. My name is Coco, and this is Minecraft philosophy. So, Minecraft philosophy is it's something I wanted to do for a long time, and I never had. Well, I never had the push to kind of do it. And just a quick note: I'm still getting used to reusing this microphone, reusing OBS Studio, things of that nature. So if the audio is horrible right now, this is the second time recording. So I've been doing some trial and error with it, trying to figure out what the best method is going to be. How much gain, what pattern controls, all that kind of stuff. But also, if all of this seems a little bit unauthentic, I have kind of a layout for this one, and re-recording, you kind of get stuck in that, like, remembering what you said and picking and choosing what you liked versus what you didn't like. So if this sounds a little bit unauthentic, I apologize for that. The following episodes, once I get the microphone and the gameplay audio better put together, it'll be a little bit more authentic. So yeah, this is going to be Minecraft philosophy. I've wanted to do this for a long time, and I did it a little bit when I was in high school. And now I'm in college, and kind of the reason why I never officially did it, these past 2 years was, first year I didn't have a laptop, or I didn't have a PC where I could play Minecraft. But the cockiness to think that you're good enough to do things, it kind of went away as, college life happened, and high school memories were really fading away, and I was making new ones here and trying to discover who I was, what I wanted to do, who I wanted to be, etc. That cockiness goes away, and you start to have a newfound maturity, and you want to turn that into confidence. And it's a really beautiful thing, but it's kind of hard when have this thing that you've wanted to do for a long time that involves that uncertainty of, because once you actually start that YouTube channel, you immediately have to sit in the fact that it's like, oh, I'm not famous. Like, people aren't watching this. People aren't, leaving comments, things like that. But, I was sitting with the fact that if I did wake up tomorrow and somebody posted Minecraft philosophy, and, it's not an original idea, no doubt about it, but if somebody posted Minecraft philosophy and they were just talking about philosophy over Minecraft, I think I'd be devastated, but I wouldn't also have the right to be devastated, because I've sat on this idea for a long time, and I didn't do anything about it, so now we're doing something about it. So, a little bit about me. My name is Coco. I'm a philosophy student, and, I have a lot of thoughts throughout my day, and I didn't know you had a mother. I didn't know that you could study those thoughts in a professional, put together kind of way. And I took an intro to philosophy course. I was a film major, and I took an intro to philosophy course, did a little bit more research, and I was like, this is what I need to be doing. I have too many thoughts in my head to not be attempting to study them. So, that's where we are, Also, a little bit about Minecraft philosophy. It's gonna be like, even hopefully as I get more advanced and I read more, you know, niche, I suppose, philosophical texts and whatnot, it's still gonna, all this is gonna be like attempting to be at a very elementary level, because I talked about this in the first recording. I just wrote a paper about the philosophy of change, and in it I put kind of a fun anecdote about how, if someone wants to play basketball, no paper, no YouTube video, nothing would tell them to go call up the NBA and demand be put on the team that's about to play in the NBA championship. And it's the same principle. Like, thinking is something that we all do. So it's kind of, it's just not even, it's almost just embarrassing to come at it from a morally, it's almost embarrassing to come at it from a morally high standpoint, pretending like, yeah, you may know more than the other person, but we all think. It's something that we all do. So if you want to, learn about it and get in the routine of really, interacting and analyzing and building almost your own relationship with your own thoughts, you have to start at like not an elementary level, but a basic level. You can't talk about, existentialism, something that literally every single person in the world thinks about. Every single person in the world thinks about, like, what's going to happen after death, and act as if, like, you're holier than thou. Like, you're superior because you've had that thought, or you're superior for having that thought. Not like, what if all my friends are robots, and what if I'm the only real person? Like, everyone has that thought. So, yeah, pretty much Minecraft philosophy is just going to be me playing Minecraft. Sometimes it's going to be structured. Sometimes it's not, because in the first recording I found that it was really hard to play Minecraft and trying to, like, read off of, like, notes that I've taken. So it might be structured, might not. Some days I might have the camera. Some days, I might do, like, an overlay of talking, like the game will be going and then I'll just talk over it. It kind of just depends, like, I need, this is more for me right now. I need, this because I need, to find that love of putting effort into things again and being proud of it. And even though, this is not a unique idea, it's half childish, half not, and maybe Minecraft philosophy isn't the thing I'm proud of, but showing up and trying to keep making these videos, it's something I feel in my heart and in my soul that that'll be proud of. And also, I think it's just a fun idea, because it's kind of going to my next point. Minecraft and philosophy go together in so many more ways than people really think. For starters, like, Minecraft's a very unique game in the fact that there's no plot, and there's no real rules, except, like, obviously the rules that are set in the game. Like, you can't build past a certain height, build the blocks are square. But even then you can mod things. But going with the basic game, you're kind of just plopped into this world where there are no real fundamental rules except, the logics of the land that you're put into, and there's no plot. There's achievements, but there's no storyline. And that's just one of those games, because, like, you have games like Call of Duty, or you have games like, God of War. I'm working through that right now, where, it emulates life in the fact of, like, we went to war, or, we believed in Greek mythology for a period of time. I don't know if Ragnarok is Roman or Greek, but it doesn't really emulate life. Like, yes, on one hand, not a lot of people in modern day, America, are hitting down trees and building pharmacies and building farms and building doctor's offices and street signs and all that kind of stuff. But I would argue that even less so, people in modern day America aren't in a war and are receiving, like, payloads from a random drop site in the sky with no real explanation. So it mirrors life in a way that a lot of other video games don't. And of course, there's a lot of indie games that probably mirror, and definitely probably do mirror life in a better sense than Minecraft does. But, point that I have later is talking about Henry David Thoreau and how, aka Ellen lookalike, how he found a lot of value just simply living in the woods. And I haven't been able to read all of, Walden, but I do know that he found value in spending time in nature at its simplest point, whether it was fully living away from humanity or only, I don't know the semantics of his book, but I do know that he found a lot of value in spending time in nature, and that's exactly what Minecraft is. Like, the whole point. I can't remember how to make a stick. Oh, yeah, apparently I do. I need a bed. Oh, I didn't even need to make a stick for that. But it's one of those games where, you already have a philosophy, a philosophical, I don't want to say, theory. Maybe theory. I don't know the proper word, honestly. But you see a lot of times that nature and philosophy are really, really closely put together because, those are kind of the only two things that we know we're not universally related to, but that's kind of the only thing that we know, might not have a purpose like us. So when you have a lot of philosophies that center nature, it's really cool to see a video game that's completely centered around nature, has no plot, and there's not many pre-written rules, and then try to take that and say, okay, how can I, live a deeper life? Because Minecraft's all about creating. And in order to kind of understand a little bit more about creation, I want to talk about the two different creation theories. And I promise this is going to come back and actually relate to something later. But you have in at least, the Christianity, Judaism, and Islam religions, you have these two kind of ideas, right? That, you have on one branch that when God created us, he projected himself. The Bible says God spoke. So we are extensions of him. We are extensions of the divine. We are not just created by him, but we're created through him. We're created of him. And that kind of viewpoint, though, it brings up the issue that, if we are part of God, if God breathed life onto us, he spoke, and there we are, we're part of him, why does bad happen? Because if he's supposed to be all good, then there shouldn't be any instances where, if we all come from him, there shouldn't be any instances, bad things, the evil, bad things happen. Now, you could sit there and argue that it's like, okay, well, like God is letting, wars or this or that happen because he's operating on a much larger scale of knowledge than we ever will be able to. Like, yeah, we're part of God, but we are like a less than a drop of painting on whatever that painting that's like huge on the wall. I know it's like that it's on the ceiling and it's huge and it's so embarrassing that I don't know the name of it. It's not really faint. We are a drop of paint, compared to him. So naturally, he's going to be operating on a much, much higher scale and accessibility to knowledge than we are. So some things might need to happen that we just can't comprehend. But then on the other hand, if that's still not a good enough answer for you, like, okay, well then how can he really be good and just if he's not telling us, if he's not showing himself and showing that, like, you're not going to understand it, but I have knowledge that you don't. When a dad or a mom says, you're going to understand when you're older. That's a sense of justice and fairness because we can't understand, but they're giving us all they can. So if you're not happy with that end of the, creation story, then there's the idea that God formed the formless, that we were mud and matter and just gluck, essentially, and God saw some ounce of beauty in that, and he formed it. And he formed us into, the way I like to think of it is he saw mud, and he separated the mud into dirt, water, and nutrients, and then he watched us, grow into flowers, and then, the evolution cycle. I don't know where flowers actually stand in the evolution cycle because I know that we came from like sea foam, but either way, he saw what we were, and he formed something out of the good, the bad, ugly, beautiful, all that stuff, and that solves the issue of why there's, why there's bad in the world, because we're not from him, but we are by him, I suppose. And then after those two viewpoints kind of, have their own beliefs, they tend to come together and believe that then God took the dust of the earth and formed the first man and then, either breathed life into him or formed life into him. And then you've got, God creating Eve, my apologies, from Adam's ribs. And then, they did what humans do best, and they sinned. The two big sins that we're going to be at least dealing with was thievery and disobedience. Because for those who haven't read the Bible, or, don't, or, or the Quran, or any other, what's the Jewish one called? I can't think of what the Jewish equivalent of that is. It's the it's the Old Testament, so same page. But either way, the sins were thievery and disobedience, because this serpent snake in the Garden of Eden was essentially, if I remember correctly, was telling Eve and Adam, like, hey, God's not really telling you everything. There's a lot that you don't know, and you can know it. You can be on the same level as God. You can have all the knowledge, but you gotta eat this apple. You gotta eat it. And the story goes that Eve ate it, and then so did Adam. And there's a really, I don't know if it's actually directly from the Bible or not, but I kind of like to believe that it is. There's this really fun, line where God kind of eats him up. And, God walks in and goes, what are you guys wearing clothes? Because, God wears clothes, I guess, but Eve and Adam did not. And they go, oh, well, we were naked. He goes, how'd you know you were naked? And it's kind of, I don't know if that's in the Bible. I'll probably look it up after this, but I just love, the idea of, like, how'd you know you were naked? Because they didn't, because once they ate the apple, then they understood, that there's these human sexual traits, and they were kind of embarrassed. They then felt embarrassed, and they felt, a lot of human emotions. And they not only stole from, the garden, they also disobeyed God's orders, because God told them not to eat anything like that. So the punishments, was on men's side. Oh, I lost completely where I was supposed to be sleeping. That's not good. That's why you can't see. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Is that this is why I might need to just simply record things over gameplay. But then that doesn't feel. I found it. Never mind. So for men, the rest of men, for the history of life, dealt with two sins. They had to work, and they would die at the end of their lives. Women, on the other hand, because Eve ate the apple first, work, death, and then pain at childbirth. And for me, at least, and a lot of other people, one of the biggest dilemmas ever. But if Adam was supposed to, maybe you don't believe that Adam was supposed to protect Eve, but if you believe at least that, if Eve was part of Adam, right? That means that just like we were, if you believe that God breathed life onto us, Eve was not whole. She was a part of Adam. She wasn't whole. She wasn't a whole human. So she wasn't operating on that same level of knowledge that Adam was. So it was Adam's job, especially because he was her quote-unquote master. She was just a helper, like almost kind of a, she wasn't made to be. She was made to be for Adam. So that responsibility of making sure Eve doesn't eat the apple kind of laid on Adam. So why were women punished more than men? Because they ate the apple first. And there's that fun idea. I don't know if people really believe it. I don't know if there's any merit to it, but the thought is that maybe men ate the apple first. They're so good at lying that they lied and said Eve did. And then now that's why, men have the Adam's apples. And, who knows if that's real or not. I don't really care. But, going off of, okay, well, even if Adam was supposed to protect her and didn't, that's not his fault. It's Eve's fault. Okay, fine. We'll go into the punishment that both people face, death. If death is this thing that, if you do what God wants us to do, and whatever the parameters to get into heaven and to be with him again, right? If death is the reason, the one thing that's going to take us out of this life and bring us to God, why is it a punishment? And that kind of train of thought leads you to, like, on God's end, right? And on our, universal soul's end, a soul that is infinite in time, that we will never see the end nor the beginning of our experience as souls. It's the equivalent of, like, your dad putting you to sleep at night, and when you're scared, he says, you gotta go to bed, shuts the door, and you start crying, and then he immediately opens it. That's what our life is. It is God shutting the door, and we don't really know what's, kids don't have that good sense of object permanence. We don't know if he's really behind that door. And that's our life, and then God opens the door again, and then now we are back to our, eternal souls of being with him. But if God is all powerful and, loves us, there was not a moment that good and just father, right? The one in the example, just shut the door on the kid. He said, I have to go to bed. I promise you, there's no monsters under the bed. You have school in the morning. You have to go to bed. Like, I have to go. I love you. We can't recall a single moment before our birth that God did that. So he's giving us this punishment, not to mention this punishment that apparently all of humanity has to deal with because of two people. Mind you, there are trillions of people who have lived, and we are dealing with the punishment of two people who we had no say in anything that they did. We didn't get to sit there and yeah, life's not fair, but he is a just God, is he not? So he should not have punished us all. But is he really, not even just that, but is he really fair and just if, even at your deathbed, even say the millisecond after you die, you are immediately back with God, and you understand the purpose of your life, and you understand everything, and the cosmos, and the universe, and you understand the divine interactions between all of them. For that split second, we are in the unknown. There is a point where we are barely experiencing life, and we have to close our eyes and take that leap of faith. And it's a leap of faith that is not based off of substantial merit. Yeah, there's a lot of things that point to the fact that God maybe did exist, and but there's not much merit to the claim of God is 100% real. So we're taking that leap of faith, and God has the power to at least tell us, I can't tell you what, but you're going to be fine. There's something after. And, again, like I said, maybe because he's operating on that higher, level of knowledge, we have to go through that. We have to go through that leap of faith not knowing. But even then, it's no just God, or no just father, kind and good father, would just shut the door on his kids. So then how on earth does all of this relate to Minecraft? The, story of sin and Adam and Eve, it wasn't really necessary, but, this is still philosophy, so it's important to talk about. But if you take both sides of the creation story, right, we'll start just with saying that God formed the formless. When you're entered into this world, you are given nothing except for your bare hands and the world in front of you. It's then, your job to form something. It's your job to see the wood, and then turn the wood into wooden planks, and then turn the wooden planks into sticks, and then make pickaxes. It's your job to create something out of this, to see, the beauty in it, to see the potential, and inform it into the ways that you want. You're God, essentially. You're forming the formless, and by playing it, it's fostering a place where creating it's necessary. And even if you don't believe, right, that you have to create, that you can just go and you can kill all the animals, you're still creating. You're creating a world of chaos. You're taking the the animals there, and you're creating food out of them. You're creating death out of them. And even if you don't think that you're a creative person, we are creatures that are made to create. We not only have these beautiful things that allow us to create life. Anytime you breathe, you're creating. Anytime you walk, you're creating motion. Anytime you think, you're creating thought. Like, we are creatures that are meant to create. So by, playing a game like this and taking it for more than what's presented to you, I firmly believe that you can walk away with a lot more knowledge and about your beliefs and your soul, and probably just a lot more contentness and peace if you look at it from a this is just me doing my due diligence as a human. This is just me doing what my innate nature is to do. And then if you take the other side of the creation theory, that God breathed life into us, that we are extensions of him, you almost kind of get this more serendipity. I don't know if serendipity is a verb, adjective, noun, but you get kind of more of a complete thought that's really beautiful to step away and just think about. Because now everything that you do is an extension of you. It's not you and Minecraft, it is you spacebar, maybe you =, this game. And everything that you do in this world, every brick that you break, every block that you place, oh, that rhymed, every little town that you make, or roller coaster that you build, it's a part of you. And then you might, hey, sorry, can I have like 5 more minutes?
Absolutely, I just wanted to see.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't worry. Do you have any idea what you want?
I probably won't eat anything because I still need to have eggs here. So I'm probably gonna eat eggs when we're done.
But why? Like, that was like my payment.
Why not your payments just spending time with me?
Well, yeah, that too, but like, can you at least get like a drink or something?
Sure, I'll get a drink.
Okay.
Alright, I love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
That was my girlfriend. My girlfriend. Driving her somewhere. But, you might sit there and you might say, okay, yeah, congratulations, Minecraft is now an extension of you. Turn off the screen, you are alone, you're miserable, you're gonna die. Real great thing to be an extension of now. But I would just argue that is just such a pessimistic viewpoint, because first time I recorded this, I thought about something that I told my friend, and it's not very similar, but it's kind of similar in the respect of giving a meaning to everything you do. I was telling him that, I've been trying to subconsciously and put in the work to get to a point where this is actually a belief that I have, and one that I really do live by, not just like think about. That the only difference between a stranger and a friend is just one conversation. And, you could, be at an elevator and ask someone to, say, floor 3. And yeah, maybe you're never going to see them again. You probably won't. You probably will never speak to them again. You had no significant impact on their life. They had no significant impact on yours. But why would you not want to walk away from that experience trying to take something out of it? Trying to have a more complete and fluid sense of your life. I don't care that you're never going to see them again. Why can't they be your friend? Why can't they be someone that just... And, they didn't impact you, because if they didn't hit floor 4, you wouldn't have gone to floor 4. Yeah, you could have walked to the stairs, but now you're in the elevator. You weren't going to hit it because you asked them to hit it. So yeah, maybe they're not your real friend, but it's a really nice thought that anybody you meet, you can approach them as if they're a friend. And it kind of goes into, you know, yeah, you're doing a lot on, this, you shut off the game and then go live your life. But it is not that easy. Waking up and changing is not that easy. There's reasons why you have to start small. There's reasons why people don't change overnight. You're not going to just become this productive person who views their life in this, complete, everything has meaning sense. So I would argue that if you're already playing this game, if you just start to, see the beauty that you are breathing life into these creations, that these are a part of you, because they are. You're thinking, you're being creative, and then you're planning. Like, how is that not a part of you? Or at least, how can you not want to see it as a part of you? If you start to see it as a part of you, you're going to start to just subconsciously, find a little bit of meaning and relational, not objectives, but just, you're gonna say, you're gonna maybe start to think that, I'm brushing my teeth and the toothbrush is giving me clean teeth and I'm giving it a purpose. You're just, I would argue that you are just going to start to see your life in a way bigger scheme than you would have before. And I think it's a really, really beautiful thing that there is a game that emulates life. It's really calming. And by playing it, if you're intentional with it, you can walk away with like a whole different viewpoint on life. And that's a beautiful thing. And I kind of want to wrap it up. I wrote this quote, and I don't know how much I like it, but I don't really think I care. I think I kind of just want to say it. You can watch tutorials. You can play only to mine the most diamonds, create beautiful structures, just with the power of your brain. It is a world that has form, but very little rules. It is the Garden of Eden, and you are both God and Adam/Eve. Be disciplined in your need to create, and you will go far. We are creatures. It is literally, we are creatures, and the word create is right there. We are born and made to create. Because you are creating thought when you think, which, mind you, we are one of the only animals that really, has a deep subconscious, okay? That's not just because. That is because we are now creators who have an instinct to create thought, to create feelings, to create a breath, to create life eventually, if that's what you want. We have a need to create. And yeah, maybe stepping into a video game and just kind of sitting with it for a while. Maybe for some people that's not how you're going to find meaning in your real life. But I mean, look at that sunrise. Oh, beautiful. But just, you could take away anything from this episode. Just be intentional with what you're doing. Whether it is Minecraft, whether it's watching these videos, if you're going to watch and play video games, if you're going to watch and just have this background noise, philosophy is about just being more intentional and examining your life just a little bit more than you did before. Thank y'all for listening. If you did, if you didn't, I'll never know. And you'll never know. So it's perfect. If you have any, philosophical ideas that you want talked about, just leave comments down below. Like I said, I'm going to try to make these very, very unstructured. For me right now, it's just about filming the video and talking and, building that routine of doing things I say I'm going to do. But, yeah, that's about all I have to say. I feel pretty good leaving it there. Subscribe if you want. God, I have not said subscribe if you want in a long time. Leave a like, leave a comment down below. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.